Hey there, CineMaster fans! Hope you're ready for some movie magic. Let's dive right in. At the beginning of our movie, The Seeker the Dark is Rising, we meet a boy named Will Stentore. It's the last day of school before the Christmas break, but Will isn't really excited about celebrating Christmas like the rest of his friends. As soon as he leaves school, he bumps into a really beautiful girl wearing a red scarf, and we see Will fall in love with her at first sight. Then he runs to catch the bus. And by coincidence, he finds the same girl gets on the bus with him. His siblings show up and start teasing him because he's shy and always alone without any friends. After a bit, his sister Joy tells him to go talk to the girl he likes before they get off. But unfortunately, the girl gets off the bus at the very next stop. Her scarf falls off, so Will picks it up to give it back to her, but before he can, the bus drives away. After that, Will and his siblings head home together. Then a guy named Leon pulls up in his car in front of them. We find out Leon used to work for the royal princess of their country, Professor Greythorn. Leon invites Will and his siblings to the royal palace to attend the New Year's party. Finally, when Will gets home, he finds his brother Max has come back to spend the holiday with them. We see Max takes Will's room, so now Will has to sleep in the storage room. We learn that Will has 5 older brothers and 1 younger sister, and apparently, Will's dad is an optimistic and positive guy. After he got a job as a professor at the university, they all moved here. Will's mom is a housewife who loves her family a lot. At night, when everyone is sitting around the table, their dad John asks Max where he's going after graduation, and Max says he's still thinking about it. The rest of the siblings tease Will again because he couldn't talk to the girl he likes. The next day, 2 farmers named Dawson and George show up and bring a Christmas tree. They're both really happy to see Will and wish him a happy birthday, telling him there's going to be a big storm that day, even though the sky is clear outside. After that, Will's family starts giving him his gifts, but all their presents are pretty useless except for Joy's, because she's the only one who got him a decent gift. When he opens the box, he finds a watch inside. Joy helps him put it on and tells him to make a wish. Will wishes for it to snow at their house. And at night, while he's tossing and turning, he sees it actually starts snowing and gets really happy. But because of the cold, he gets up to close all the windows, and suddenly he finds his hands have become super strong. When he touches the window, the glass cracks under his fingers. The next day, while he's waiting at the bus stop, he sees a bunch of crows sitting on the tree next to him. The bus comes, he gets on, and heads to the mall, supposedly to buy Joy a gift. He finds a nice chain and buys it for her. As he's leaving the mall, 2 security guards grab him and accuse him of stealing the chain, taking him in for questioning. When he enters the interrogation room, he notices something's off. The lights keep flickering, and the guards' faces keep changing. When the officers ask him about the magic symbols, Will just stares, not understanding what they're talking about. Suddenly, the security guards reveal their true forms and transform into monsters, attacking Will. But Will pushes them away and escapes, realizing he's gotten really strong. The guards keep chasing him with everything they've got, but he manages to escape from that forest, still not understanding what's going on or why all these people are after him. When he tries to tell his dad that weird things are happening to him, neither his dad nor anyone in the family cares. That night, he and his family go to the royal palace for the party. There, we see the farmers standing in front of Will, asking if he's enjoying himself. Will spots the girl he likes, but James steps in and goes to talk to her instead. Will gets upset when he sees this, grabs his coat, and leaves. We notice Leon and Greythorn watching him, deciding whether or not to tell Will about his destiny. In the next scene, Will is walking alone in the forest when suddenly a man riding a horse starts chasing him with his dogs. Will notices and starts running too, but the man's horse is fast and catches up to Will. The man asks Will about the symbols, but Will has no idea what he's talking about. Just then, Leon and Greythorn show up and tell the man to leave Will alone. Before the man leaves, he tells Will that in a few days, his powers will return, and when they do, he'll kill them all. Leon and his men find Will shaken up and take him with them to an ancient world full of magic. They tell him he was once an ancient warrior who saved the light in the world. They explain that hundreds of years ago, in a place called the Green Hole,
there was a war between the light and the darkness, and light won, but that didn't stop the darkness forever. Now, to defeat the darkness, Will needs to find the 6 magic symbols to destroy the evil forces once and for all. They tell him that on his birthday his powers appeared, and from now on, he'll start seeing lots of symbols. But at the same time, the man on the horse also started feeling his own power, and the same will happen to many other people. Will can't process all this, and doesn't understand why he has these powers in the first place. Leon explains that, according to old stories, he's supposed to be the 7th son of a 7th son. They had a book called the Book of Grammar that explains how to identify the symbols, and Will is the only one who can read it. Will laughs when he hears this because he's actually the 6th son. He has 5 older brothers, so he's not the seventh, which means they picked the wrong person. As he's about to leave, Leon and his men tell him he can't run away from his destiny. At that moment, Will gets a glimpse of the future and sees the darkness has taken over the whole world. He gets terrified, but suddenly finds himself on a strange road and almost gets into an accident. In the next scene, he's back home, doing some research and talking to his dad, asking some deep questions since his dad's a physics professor. He wants to know if light can defeat darkness under any circumstances. John asks if he's still asking those deep questions like he used to. Later, while Will is in the storage room, he tries to open the closet but trips and injures his leg. Mary calls the doctor to check on him. When Will looks for something to drink, he hears the doctor's voice outside and instantly realizes it's not a real doctor. It's the same man who was riding the horse and tried to kill him. After the doctor sends Mary to another room to get some things so he can talk to Will alone, we see him heal Will's leg just by touching it and he tells him that if he gives him any information about the symbols, he'll do whatever he wants to him. Then he twists Will's leg again, making it hurt, and keeps threatening him, saying that if he meets the ancient warriors, he'll kill him and his family. As soon as Mary comes back to the room, the doctor gets up and leaves, leaving Will to suffer. He tells him he'll need a few more days to recover. After that, Will goes into the storage room and finds a photo of twin children. He takes it and goes to Mary, who tells him he had a twin brother named Tom. When Will and his brother were 2 weeks old, a sudden, strong storm hit and made both of them cry. Mary took Will and went downstairs, asking John to bring Tom with him. At that time, John was busy working on an important discussion, so when he finished and went to get Tom, he found Tom had disappeared. He searched for him for a long time but found no trace. John was so shocked by the incident that he stopped the work he was doing and fell into depression. After Will hears this, he realizes there's a huge danger threatening the world, and that's why he decides to help the ancient warriors. When he reads the old book, he discovers he has many powers, like being able to memorize the symbol of light, move things from far away, and even travel through time as he wants, not to mention his physical strength. On top of all that, he can shoot fire from his hands. But what catches Will's attention is that he wants to fly like Superman, but he doesn't have that power, which makes him really upset. Later, Leon teaches Will how to use his powers, and that's when Will sees the first symbol, which he finds in the amulet on the chain he brought for his sister. Then he sees the second symbol, but to get it, he needs to travel back in time with the rest of the warriors. As soon as they arrive in this strange world, suddenly an old woman attacks them with poisonous snakes and ties them all up, but Will manages to push them away with his supernatural power and gets the second symbol. Using the amulet, he returns to the church with his team. After talking to Leon, Will learns that he had a great-grandfather named Thomas, who said that no one ever found the sixth symbol because it was never really hidden. But Leon is convinced that since it's from his family, Will can find it easily. That day, we see Ryder, the man with the horse, going to meet a mysterious person who tells him that his dark powers are growing stronger every day. But on the other side, Will also gets a symbol, which makes him stronger too. And Ryder asks him to bring all the symbols and promises to reward him. Meanwhile, Will is having dinner with his family, and James comes with Maggie, the girl Will likes. When Will finds out they're in a relationship now, he gets really upset. After a while, Maggie goes to Will and tells him she also has amazing powers and shows him her symbol, which is made of grains of salt. After dinner, Will shows Maggie his eye and asks her why she's with James and if she's also part of the ancient warriors. Maggie tells him not to focus on these small things and admits she's not a warrior or anything. She's here to protect Will. Will also admits that since he saw her, he's felt drawn to her and can't stop thinking about her all the time, finally confessing his love for her. At that moment, James arrives and asks what they're doing there, so Maggie tells him she stopped to talk to Will until he came. After Maggie leaves, Will gets upset and goes to talk to Leon, telling him he doesn't feel like he can save the world and can't even talk to girls. James tells him he's a researcher and can do whatever he wants, and that he has a long life ahead to impress girls. But right now, he needs to focus on his mission, or the world will be lost. After that, Will goes out really angry, running and shouting, which makes the trees around him catch fire. When Greythorn sees this, she yells at Leon and asks why he didn't listen, since at the end of the day, Will is just a kid. After a while, Joan goes after Will, catches up with him at the royal palace, and asks if he's okay. Will tells her everything's fine and there's no need to worry. But then he sees clouds in the sky and realizes he's about to get the third symbol. He grabs Joan's hand and travels through time, finding himself in a village with wars going on. Will takes Joan and escapes from the soldiers, then suddenly finds the symbol hidden in a shield. He follows the soldier carrying the shield, taking Joan with him until they reach a boat. When he gets the shield, a huge man grabs him and throws him in the water. When Will is about to be killed, the man's eye catches the watch, so he agrees to let Will have the shield in exchange for the watch. With that, Will gets the third symbol, and suddenly finds himself back home after traveling through time with Joan. Afterwards, he explains to Joan that no matter what happens, she can't tell anyone anything. Then Leon comes and yells at him for using his powers, telling him he should save his strength for the coming war. Later, Leon apologizes to Will for shouting and tells him from now on he'll protect him. After a while, Will goes back home and finds Max waiting for him, saying he'll stay at home for about a week, but Will doesn't care and goes inside. Max grabs him by the clothes and speaks in a strange tone because he's under Ryder's influence. At that moment, Will finds the fourth symbol and suddenly finds himself in a strange place with Max. Max threatens to kill him and asks about the symbols. Will tells him he knows he left college because he failed his exams and says their family won't care if he tells them he dropped out. Will encourages Max to free himself from all his fears, so Ryder can't control him anymore. But when his words don't work, Will hits Max and knocks him out, then takes the fourth symbol. Finally, Max wakes up and goes back home with Will. After a while, Max opens his eyes and Will tells him he passed out. The next morning, they find that a snowstorm has covered the whole country, affecting transport, water, and electricity. After that, Greythorn invites John and his family to stay at the royal palace to save them from the storm. Meanwhile, we discover that Maggie was with Ryder, that she's a witch, and she's helping Ryder gain power. In return, she stays young forever. Ryder tells her that Will now has 4 symbols, and she needs to steal them from him as soon as possible. On the other side, Leon asks Will to meet him in the Great Hall after he gets the 5th symbol, but Will isn't interested because, even after getting the 5th symbol, he still doesn't know where the 6th one is. But Leon is confident that Will can defeat Ryder and free the world from darkness. In the next scene, Maggie meets Will in the palace and asks him about the symbols. And when he was about to give them to her, her eye catches the symbol. He goes down to get the 5th symbol after risking his life, and now he refuses to give Maggie any symbol. Since Maggie couldn't get the symbols from him, Ryder breaks his promise to her, so she turns into Old Witch and dies after drowning in the water. At this point, Ryder's power gets much stronger, and he starts causing chaos in town. Meanwhile, Will goes to the Great Hall with the warriors, and supposedly Ryder can't enter that place unless they allow him. Suddenly, they hear Will's father's voice outside the door, asking them to open up. Then they hear Joy's voice too, telling them that one of their siblings is seriously injured. When Will hears Mary screaming, he runs to the door and opens it. But the truth is, it's Ryder standing behind the door. He tricked Will by imitating his family's voices, so he would let him in. As soon as Ryder enters, the power of darkness covers the light in the hall. The ancient warriors try to attack him, but he's way too strong and defeats them all, pushing them into the darkness. That leaves only Will, who asks about his family and friends. Ryder tells him he's just a kid and shouldn't think about saving the world right now. Then Ryder pulls out a magic orb and shows Will his twin brother Tom trapped inside. That's when Will realizes Ryder kidnapped Tom 14 years ago because he thought Tom was the 7th son, the one who would be the Seeker. After that, Ryder throws the orb into the palace water, and Will tries to look for his brother but finds everything dark. Finally, Ryder throws Will into the dark cloud and goes off to spread his darkness across the world. On the other side, after Will is thrown into the cloud, he remembers the 6th symbol and realizes it's in a clear, obvious place, not hidden. Suddenly, he understands that he himself is the 6th symbol. Finally, all his powers appear, and Ryder's darkness can't stop him anymore. Will comes out of the Great Hall holding the magic orb, takes the same symbol, and kills Ryder with the help of his powers. The orb traps Ryder inside with his darkness, and then Will throws it into the water. After he does that, the world lights up again. Tom, Will's twin brother, is finally freed, and the two brothers are reunited after years apart. Afterward, Will says he wants to go home, and the warriors let him leave because he's completed his mission. In the end, Tom and Will return home, and the whole family is happy that Tom is back. And that's where our movie ends today. Stay tuned for new videos and summaries. See you!